The US President Joe Biden has issued a full and unconditional pardon for his son, Hunter Biden. He has waived off tax evasion and gun related charges against him. This decision comes just weeks before Hunter Biden is set to be sentenced for his conviction in the gun case and guilty plea on tax charges. It also comes less than 2 months before President elect Donald Trump is due to return to the White House. And speaking of Trump, he launched a scathing attack towards Joe Biden, branding the move an abuse and miscarriage of justice. Now, Hunter Biden has been under the Department of Justice scanner for willful failure to pay at least $1.4 million in federal taxes on time from 2016 to 2019. He earned millions of dollars from his consultancy work with the Ukrainian industrial conglomerate Burisma. Additionally, $4.79 million were found in wire transfers from entities linked to Chinese energy tycoon Yi Jianming. But this is not only the case. Hunter Biden has also been convicted for illegally possessing a firearm for 11 days in 2018. He lied to a licensed gun dealer to obtain a Colt Cobra .38 caliber handgun. The falsely certified that he was not an unlawful user of or addicted to drugs. And now Joe Biden has signed a presidential pardon. What's interesting is that this decision is in stark contrast to what he had vowed earlier. Joe Biden had previously stated that he would not interfere with the Justice Department's prosecution. Now he's defended his U-turn in a lengthy letter. Joe Biden has claimed that charges in Hunter's case came about only to attack him and oppose his election, and that no reasonable person who looks at the facts can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he was his son. He also expressed his hope that Americans would understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. So, in simple and lucid terms, one of Joe Biden's last deeds in the White House is placing his family first. He has created a nuclear crisis in Ukraine. The Middle East is in shambles now. He has pardoned his son. This is the President of the United States of America, the same USA that makes sure that it does not lose a single opportunity to lecture and admonish other countries across the globe on democratic records. So what example is the US setting now? Is this American democracy? And what does this in fact mean for Joe Biden, especially for the Democrats who are already extremely unpopular? We'll talk about this with our guest, Ambassador Suresh Kumar Goyal, former diplomat, with us on the show. Pathikrit Payan, geopolitical analyst, joins us on the show. Mr. Adit Kothari, founder of the Indic Society, with us on the platform as well. And last but by no means the least, Professor Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, joins us on the show as well. Professor Nalapat, I'll begin with you, sir. So how do you look at this pardon? Joe Biden, in his last-ditch effort, to save his son, has actually issued a presidential pardon. He obviously knew that this is the only way his son would be exonerated. But the fact of the matter is that it's, put the Democratic Party in further disrepute with not only the opposition in that country, but also the voters.
Well, Vineet, let me say what all of us know, that Joe Biden's political career is over. And frankly, at this stage of his life, the prospect of spending the rest of his life while his son Hunter is behind bars was not an appealing one. So I'm surprised that anyone was surprised that he granted this pardon. Hunter Biden is very special to him, mainly because he's the only surviving child of his first wife, Nyla Hunter Biden, by the way. And, Hunter was named after her maiden name, who died in 1972 in a very unfortunate car crash, together with a little daughter Biden's, of Naomi, I think a 3-year-old girl. They were killed in 72. Of course, Bo and Hunter had injuries, but they escaped. And subsequently, unfortunately, Bo Biden passed away. So Hunter's all that he's got left of Nyla, if I may say so. And he's still very sentimental about his first wife. So, and he's very, very attached to his son, Hunter. So frankly, he has acted as a father. That's what he is from now on. He's not a politician. He is a father. He's virtually given up politics in July when the Democratic Party said we don't have any more use for you. All right, I'm leaving. Now, I mean, look, Donald Trump, I can understand because Trump has been really persecuted under the Biden administration, truly persecuted. Those were genuinely political, prosecutions. But Hunter's case is not a political prosecution and was conducted by Justice Department when Biden is in the White House. So it's not political. But the reality is that he didn't want to face a situation in which Hunter is in jail. And basically, you have a whole bunch of people in the Trump administration who will be out to make his life as miserable as possible. So he wanted to get him out of that. As far as Trump is concerned, he has given 237 pardons in his time, including to his son-in-law's father. He gave a pardon to him. Every president, frankly, almost all presidents have given, frankly, outrageous pardons for their family members, for their friends, and for donors, most of all, people who have made big contributions. So this is, frankly, a fact of life in the United States. It's been going on president to president to president. It's been criticized president to president to president. But when a president realizes his or her political life is over, his political life, the Americans have not yet elected a lady president, unfortunately. But the fact is that I think Biden was expected to do this, and he did precisely that. As for Donald Trump, 237 pardons were given by him, including to his close relatives. So, frankly, he's also in the same boat as far as Joe Biden is concerned. Thank you.
Ambassador Goyal, what's your point of view? Is Joe Biden right in exercising his presidential mandate of pardoning his son, or do you think it's basically a misuse of a privilege that only a president has?
Vineet, why are we discussing about the matter of right and wrong in terms of the US politics? Professor Nalpat has already pointed out that many presidents have done it, president after president. They have pardoned, they've been criticized. Is the game in the USA, is the part of the game there. They do it. The public, if you remember, despite everything, have you heard a squeak from the public, either in an editorial or in the news report or anything at all in the US media? I don't recall anything. These things are covered as a matter of fact in the USA. Now, if we are going to judge both President Biden and Trump, and before him President Bush, and before him President Reagan and everyone, are we going to judge them on the moral compass? And if we bring in the issue of morality and ethics in politics here in the case of the USA, what about using the same compass, same morality, same ethics in the case of the Indian politics? We have done that in the Indian politics also, and we do it. But the point is that when we're talking about it, it was happening. And in fact, what others are saying, some people are saying that, and there is a debate on that also in the USA amongst essentially those who, the think tank business really, that this presidential pardon can be changed, is subject to questioning or subject to change by President Trump when he assumes power. Some say he can't, it's a presidential pardon. Now, if you recall that after the pardon given by President Trump to his own relations, President Biden didn't change any of that. So I think, really speaking, when we are talking about politics of any country, we have to go really by the convenience, the appropriateness of the decision, not on the morality or ethics, but on the political experience really of that time. We may like it, we may not like it, but anyway, this is the USA. I think essentially what we need to do is that whoever is the president of the day, whether it is Trump or Biden, or if it had been Kamala Harris who had become the president, we need to see where our interests are and work with the president in terms of our own interests. And that is where I think we should be. That is where I will stop, because I'm frankly baffled by this.
Pathakrit, are you baffled by this? Or do you think, it's pretty much expected for a father to at least do that much for his son?
Look, the kind of gaslighting Biden administration is right now doing in Middle East, and the kind of provocations they were creating in Ukraine by allowing Zelensky to use the Storm Shadow and the ATACMS missile, knowing that it would have no impact on the outcome of the war, but it would only provoke Russia more. Compared to that, I think it is a lesser crime. Compared to what they have tried to do in Bangladesh, the kind of mayhem that is there over there right now, it's a lesser crime. The only thing I would say is this: like, we should record this as a reference point every time later. Anytime later, when the Americans give lectures on freedom of democracy, freedom of expression, democracy, and big talks, we should just use it as a reference point. Both Professor and Ambassador are right. I mean, we should not judge it from the compass of morality, but as a reference point, it is a beautiful example that look, this is what you guys do, so don't lecture. That is the most important thing. I don't think anyone in India would even raise up this issue with Americans because nobody cares to hoots. As it is, expecting morality itself from politics is expecting too much. And secondly, this is almost like a norm than an exception. It is true. But Hunter Biden, see, the problem is that the Democrats in the last 4 years have given so much of lectures on morality and righteousness that even an evangelist will be put to shame. The ones who go out and convert people by spreading falsehood about other religions. So on that note, if I can say that the kind of lectures they give, the kind of these wokes give lectures, compared to that, what they've done with Hunter, this entire pardon is not something big. But look at the kind of hold these entire cabal has on legacy media, on digital media of the entire Western world, that in the last 4 years, nobody raised this issue. If it had not been pointed out by Professor Nalapat, 99% people, even in America, don't even know what he is accused of because it is not discussed. It is like a no-go area. So when we talk about neutrality of media in Western world, I'm talking about, look at the kind of hold they have. Today, I'm sure Hunter Biden is accused of far more heinous things than just that holding or a possession of a pistol or a rifle. It's not so. And one of the reasons why they are pretty apprehensive right now, even though giving pardon is not a big thing over there, I think is because Kash Patel is becoming the FBI director. It's because Tulsi Gabbard is coming. So they know this guy is involved in a lot of things. And in spite of all the presidential pardon, there's no guarantee they'll not go after him. But the reality is this, that there are many such skeletons in the closet, whether it is of the Clintons or the Bidens or many others, which both Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard are talking about bringing it out, declassify. Is that the reason why Biden has been in a hurry? Well, we have to wait and watch. But as I stated, everything said and done, there are many such reference points. Look at the silence, the entire silent mode the US administration right now is on, especially when this mayhem in Bangladesh is going on. It is their creation. It is not happening by default. It is by design. So our mistake is this, my last point. Our mistake is this, that we say, no, we should only be concerned about what we get from the United States. Our relation should not be hampered. It's true. But why don't we raise these issues publicly? Because when they never, let go a single opportunity to hit you back. That is my problem. With all due respect, I have the highest respect for the diplomacy. This is my only issue. When they are not, abiding by the diplomatic nuances, why are we too scared, concerned and cautious? That's the only thing. Yes, United States is a strategic partner. It's a great country on many, counts. We need them, but they need us too. And only thing is this: you want us to be a strategic partner. We are there. Nobody wants, to open up. We are not like a Bangladesh. But have some nicety at times. But Obama comes and give lectures on intolerance. It started from the Obama era. That is where we should take up these examples and show the mirror to them. My only contention is that. Back to you.
All right, double standards, Adit, is what Pathakrit is elucidating at this point in time. Does this also sort of, in a way compromise the position, the American president is in? This is obviously a big thing to be pardoning your own son. And the fact of the matter is that America considers itself as this beacon, as this lighthouse of democracy and fairness. How does this, reflect upon their beliefs vis-a-vis their actions?
Meaning, this wouldn't have been the first time, as we all know, that an American president would have pardoned one of his relatives. Son may not, but definitely brothers or half brother. In the case of Clinton, I think his brother's name was Roger Clinton. That was pardoned during President Clinton's presidency. Post that, Donald Trump, as Professor Nalapath also mentioned, Charles Kushner, who's the father-in-law of his son, was also pardoned, was also presented with the presidential pardon along with 26 other people at that time. So, this is not going to be the first time. The problem is, from our end, we, as Pathikrit also mentioned, that we don't use these incidents to basically show the United States the mirror, because, they are, particularly that sort of house, which actually throws stones on other people without realizing that their own house is actually built of glass. And that is where our failure is. The intelligentsia in India, their complete silence on this whole issue, demonstrates, how selectively they pick on issues, what kind of selective amnesia they actually demonstrate. They will go after the indictments that Adani has been presented with, or even the indictments which sort of implicate the Indian government to go after a terrorist, present in the United States. But they do not have the gall to come out in public domain and call out this sort of biasness that an American president has demonstrated. At the end of it all, you expect the seat of the American president is meant to be protecting secularism. It's meant to be protecting democracy. What has he gone ahead and done? He's gone ahead and completely dismantled that by this presidential pardon, and that is what we don't often call out. Because at the end of the day, an individual may have biases, but the institution that they represent needs to act in an unbiased manner, which in this case, the Justice Department has been completely thwarted. They have been made a complete mockery out of. And I'm glad for once, this has happened, because it sort of destroys that sort of validity and that integrity that American justice system has been known to, or rather, has been gloated about for so many years. They have been used as this beacon of justice globally, and we've all had to swallow that with a bitter pill, because our intelligentsia is basically dishonest. So somewhere or the other, I am actually glad this has happened, because it sort of dismantles that hypocrisy and the double standards of our intelligentsia.
All right. Professor Nalapath, concluding thoughts, sir, starting with you.
Yeah, Vineet, I don't think he's going to go after Hunter Biden or the Biden family, because Joe Biden is an object of, frankly, of no political relevance. If anything, he's an object of pity. So you go after his son Hunter, and basically you're going to lose political points. I think it's more likely that Kash Patel may go after Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton was very, very active in trying to destroy Donald Trump. Very active. I mean, Biden is very heavily influenced by the Clintons. And the Clintons were very clear that you have to send this guy to jail. So he may go after Hillary Clinton, but I don't see him going after Biden. I don't see him going after Hunter Biden, because frankly, there's nothing politically to be gained by going after father and son. When there's shame enough on both of them, Hunter especially, I don't see any political value. And I think Kash Patel and others will not enter into that. But I think they may look at Hillary Clinton, because Clinton was supercharged this prosecution and persecution of Donald Trump. And that's something that loyalists like Kash Patel is not going to forget. Vineet.
Ambassador Goyal?
I am going to respond very briefly to what was said about using these things as a reference point and use them in our diplomacy. All I would say is that a trump card loses the value once you reveal what your trump card is. And therefore, the lobbying, as they say in the USA, or what you may call corruption, what you may call basically paying off people, the lobbying is as effective as you do not reveal the sins of people in public. I think the difference between the way case of Panun and Nizar have been dealt with by Canada and the USA is illustration enough really. Therefore, I would say in the interest of the USA-India relationship, let us leave it there. We know how to use these things in good time, but we do not have to make a public debate of it, a public discussion of it. People always shirk away when they find, and you know what the blackmail is all about, threatening to reveal the secrets in public. So let us leave it there for the time being. And I think all I would say that we use these things after that is what the lobbying is all about.
Okay, all right. Pathakrit?
Yeah.
Well, I would only say one thing that, I think even for Trump, when he comes back to power, there are other bigger priorities. Invariably, this is something which will only have a political brownie point by pointing, and that's the reason the tweets of Trump came. But otherwise, I think nobody expects any morality from the Americans. But I would still reiterate that in today's era, when, because of social media and digital media, there is nothing called a censorship of information today. The kind of brainwashing that happens from the West, of the average Indian as well, on every issue where what they believe is right is projected and our counter narrative doesn't come. There are a lot of things I can talk, but I don't want to elongate it. And I have the highest respect for every person in the diplomacy. Only thing is this: today's era of information warfare, I think we have to somewhere, accept that things have changed. It's not the way diplomacy used to work. That doesn't mean that I'm lecturing any diplomacy or diplomat what should be done. But things have changed. And the way, again, at the same time, Vineet, I would also say the government and the EMEA cannot undermine, with all due respect, the role the likes of Vineet Malhotra, the likes of Professor Nalapat, and the likes of Adit Kothari and many others play. We are not part of diplomatic circle in terms of countering the wrong information, disinformation that comes from the other side. We cannot ignore that.
All right. We have a paucity of time. Let me just have Adit slip in a word quickly and then we wrap up. Adit, quickly.
So, all in all I'm going to say is that Americans need to be shown the mirror. Their Western sort of double standards and hypocrisy has been long talked about, but I don't think we make a case in point, when the barrel of the gun is pointed towards us, and that's where our failing is. And I think we need to change that strategy so we can play our carrot and stick with them as they have been doing for so many years.
Fair enough. Thank you everyone for being a part of this conversation. We've completely run out of time.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.